Hi there, and welcome to Memories from Scratch, a series where I, a novice home person who cooks, tries to quantify my family's recipes to honor their legacy and preserve their memories for future generations to come. This first season will focus on recipes from my mom so that her granddaughter will always remember her. Today's recipe is my attempt at recreating her Pollo Borracho, or drunk chicken. I don't know if this dish has an actual name, but it's one that we made up because of all the beer that's used in this recipe. Pollo Borracho and roasted potatoes take quite a long time to make, and quite a bit of work as well, but the outcome is so delicious that you don't really mind all the effort that it takes to cook. That's why this recipe is one that we would only really make on special occasions. I wrote this script during the holiday season, so I couldn't help but feel emotional when working on this recipe. I knew I had to figure out this recipe for future holiday seasons so we could keep her tradition going and alive. To be honest, this recipe was probably one of the more difficult ones for me to recreate. That's because I usually made the roasted potatoes, but I didn't really work on the Pollo Borracho as much. That was my mom who kind of took responsibility for it. Though I remember the ingredients that were put into the marinade, I have no idea what the measurements were, and I couldn't really remember very well how much she used. That ended up being my downfall later on, but we'll get more into that later on in the video. The marinade for the chicken is pretty simple. It's onions, garlic, Triguisar, sugar, salt, and of course, lots of beer. The chicken should soak in this marinade overnight for the best results. It also helps to flip the chicken while it marinates so each side takes on the flavor. However, this is something I forgot to do. I did, do it in the morning before cooking it, but that does not give it enough time to marinate on both sides. So what I recommend is if you make the marinade in, let's say, early afternoon, before you go to bed, flip the chicken in the marinade, and that will help it to soak in the flavors a bit more evenly. Now that it's the next day, we can start prepping the potatoes before taking the chicken out. This is a recipe from J. Kenji Lopez Alt, so I'm not going to take any credit for it. I definitely don't follow his recipe exactly, but it's at least inspired by it. It tastes good regardless, and I'll link his recipe in the caption so you can get the full effect. I also made a couple of mistakes while cooking this. For instance, there is way too much water in the pot with the potatoes. Luckily, it didn't spill over, but it got close to doing so a couple of times. We didn't always used to make roasted potatoes the J. Kenji Lopez way. That was actually my doing. I saw his recipe on YouTube, and I really wanted to try it. And after making it one time, the job of roasted potatoes kind of fell onto me. My mom loved them so much, but she didn't really feel like taking all those extra steps. So I kind of got given the task of making the roasted potatoes. But I didn't mind though. I knew the end result was going to be incredible, and making something that she enjoyed so much and that my family enjoyed so much always brought me so much joy. And obviously cooking these potatoes takes quite a while, and it's a couple extra steps, but it always felt fun because it was time with my mom and I and family, and we were just in the kitchen and we would talk about our day or sing badly or dance to music, and it was just a really beautiful time that we could all spend together. Honestly, I really miss those times. It was those moments that made cooking all the more fun. If you're not a fan of cooking, try cooking with friends and family. It's so much more exciting when you do it that way. And you create so many wonderful and beautiful memories with those that you love in the kitchen. So, if you're not a fan of cooking, try cooking with others, and I know that you'll find it a much more enjoyable experience. Once the chicken is done in the oven, make sure to let it rest for enough time. I let it rest for about 10 minutes, but I think it may have needed a bit more time. I just felt that when I started cutting the chicken, more juice came out than I think should have been coming out. But again, this is my first time roasting a chicken, so I'm not sure if it's usually like that or not. Let me know in the comments. I also don't want to hit anything about how I cut this chicken, because I know I did a bad job, okay? It's really hard to do, especially when you don't have a good knife, which I know we need better knives, but we need a better budget, okay? Grapes are like $12, so it's either groceries or a good knife. Thank you all so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and I hope you try making the recipe yourself. Experiment with the measurements and let me know how it turns out for you and what measurements you used. I'd love to, get a bit of help maybe. But don't forget to tell someone how much you love them today. Thank you again.